Hey, welcome to Talking 360. I'm Tony Scott, and with me is Lena Johnson, who in the publishing world does a lot of everything, and in media consultation and stuff like that, she does even more. So if you've got some issues with your brand, your way of getting your product in front of more people, she can be a huge help with that. But we're talking about publishing, elements to self-publishing. This is part 4B. The journey is not easy, though it can be rewarding. This is part 2. Jolena, how are you?
I'm great, Tony. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Let's talk a little bit about this because we're going to pick up with promotional materials.
hmm
Now, are these flyers or these posters? What is and is not a promotional material for your book?
Anything which promotes your book is a piece of promotional material. So it could literally be a key card, it could be a magnet, it could be a bookmark, it could be a T-shirt, any of those things. And so when you're thinking about promotional materials, you want to think about what is it that's going to help someone want to read my book or know about it or become aware of it. Okay. And so I actually should have gotten something. I'm going to step out of the page for just a
Okay,
second.
all right.
All right.
We talk about promotional materials. You are
Brilliant.
brilliant. Okay.
Okay. This is an actual postcard that I created for one of the books I wrote. Okay. And so if you notice here, it has the name of the book. The book is called You Are Brilliant. At the bottom, it has a message about the book. It says, a message to people: do and be your best. God handles the rest. Jolena Johnson, be inspired. Okay.
Okay.
So you want your message to be congruent with your book. So this actually comes from the book cover. So this is a postcard. However, I have smaller cards that are like business card size. And I put those in the book because those are like bookmarks.
Right.
Okay. And they can go in people's wallets, they can go in people's purses. I like those better than doing a flyer. I don't really like flyers this size because people tend to throw them around and they don't pay attention. But if it can be something small, they're more likely to keep it.
So
Okay.
where do you get those made?
I actually do a lot of my things through Vistaprint. I think they're great. And you can use, we talked about Fiverr before. If you can't design something yourself, you can send your logo, your things to someone on fiverr.com, and you can have some of those independent contractors do them. Otherwise, you can use Vistaprint. They always have great specials, and you can create the things yourself.
Okay.
The main thing is you need to know your message. So let's talk about what promotional materials mean. You need to know your message for your particular book or your particular brand. Okay. So for this particular book, it happens to be You Are Brilliant, and it is subtitled 7 Ways to Shine. So because it's subtitled 7 Ways to Shine, I want to let people know there are things you can do to feel better. So you want your materials to be shiny, or you want the messages to be positive, or you want whatever it is. Now, a lot of times people want to go buy t-shirts. If you're going to buy a t-shirt, then you wear it every day and just make that part of your brand. If that's you, wear your t-shirt every day. But don't go buy a whole bunch of t-shirts and give them away, because that's a bad investment. That's not going to necessarily help you sell your book, because those t-shirts are going to go into somebody's drawer, and are they really going to be promoting your brand? So you want to think small, in small quantities. You want to be creative. If your book is about popsicles, then do some events and obviously give away popsicles. If it's about candy, whatever your book is about, think about some elements that you could do which would be unique and people would hold on to. Magnets are good, but they cost a little money.
Okay. And Vistaprint, by the way, it's Vistaprint.com. It's a website where
Yes.
you can get everything from banners to those cards she's talking about to traditional bookmarks to all kinds of things at some pretty good prices. Again, not a sponsor, not an endorsement, but they do pretty good work.
Right. And what I want to say is be clear about your message. Make it quick. Okay. Make sure it's consistent. So whatever you're using, the words you're using, do them on everything. And always try to have your book cover itself on whatever you're doing, because that's recognition, that's facial recognition of what it is. Okay. Okay.
All right, let's talk about on-site selling. What does that mean?
That means hopefully you will call people and they'll invite you to their church, or they'll invite you to their university or to their high school or whatever it is, whoever your target audience is. And you want to be prepared to have your mobile store with you. And what that means is your actual product, which is your books, and then whatever materials. So it may be, let's say, some bookmarks and some flyers and any other offer. So if you are a trainer or a teacher or you're a tutor and your goal was to write the book so that you can also not only sell the book but have more clients come, then you want to have your form to say sign up to have my tutoring services. Okay. You also want to be able to accept credit cards. And one of the things I recommend is setting up a PayPal account, not an endorsement, but paypal.com. They're really good about helping you to get your money very quickly. All you need is a bank account, and you can do that very easily through PayPal. The other thing is the Square. The Square is just literally a white square, and it actually comes from a St. Louis-based company. Isn't that interesting?
Oh, you talking about the where you hook it up to your smartphone and swipe your?
You swipe it, right? Right, and you usually the Galaxy.
Actually,
and
I have a PayPal one laying around here somewhere. So.
yeah, and PayPal has their own now too. Yeah. So I typically use the Square. So I guess I have a couple things going on. But basically, if you put that into it, it becomes a terminal. And you put it into your phone, and you can actually run it. And it's very good because it allows people to allows you to process the credit cards, and people can actually use it, and they'll actually sign on your phone, and then you can send them a receipt just like that, and they can either get it to their as a text message, or they can get it to their email address.
Okay.
And I recommend doing that. Some people need paper receipts, and if you can, try to have somebody with you, because it's difficult to be the author and sign the books and also process all of the things that are necessary. Okay. But you want to have a banner too, some type of banner. So even if it's a table
And
banner,
Vistaprint does that.
Vistaprint does do that as well. There are some other companies who do some things like that as well. But you want to have a banner, if nothing else, a table banner that has a cover of your book and gives a little something about what it's about, so people will come to you. And there are these 6-foot banners that I absolutely love. They're aluminum, and basically they end up being in a roll like this long and this big, and they drop down. So if you're flying or you're whatever, you can throw it over your shoulder. They're real lightweight, and they're taller than you are, and they're great. So it's like 6 foot by 2. And I recommend those because you have an instant store, instant recognition, and people will be drawn to you if you make your banner great. And don't make it a full life size of you if your book is not about your life.
Right. Because it's not about you, it's about the book.
Yes,
Okay.
It's about the content. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, for someone who's just starting, like, this is my first book,
Mm-hmm.
how do I get publicity for this? How would I go about this?
Well, first, you have to think, why does anybody care about this book, and who are the people who care about it, and who are the people who are talking about it? And that's really the key. I definitely recommend using Facebook. I recommend Instagram. You probably have a following of some kind, or you wouldn't be writing a book. And what I mean by that, it might be friends and family. If your book is about disease or wellness, there might be somebody in that type of community and reaching out to you. I mean, I love what you're doing. This Tony Scott Media venture is great because you're educating people and you're giving them a platform for a very low cost amount of money, and you have such a reach. I mean, it's really wonderful. So they need to find people like you. They need to keep in mind, though, there are a lot of programs. You can go online, and there are a lot of programs that will say, for $550, we'll advertise your book, or for $350, we'll put you on the site. If people cannot hear you and people cannot see you, it may not help. Okay, so you can do stuff on YouTube. I mean, that's always great, not an endorsement, but YouTube is obviously a great place to get exposure. But there are so many videos. If you can get someone like a Tony Scott to promote you, or to at least give you exposure, and then you share that, that will be so much more helpful. And if you live in a city, write to your local paper, your local neighborhood paper, not necessarily the big city paper, but just say, hey, I have a book. Banks, okay, where you bank. Grocery stores where you do groceries. If you are involved with childcare, or you've been, in the same school district for a long time, a lot of these places in your community are proud and happy to have an author. If your book is appropriate, and you know what I mean by appropriate, if it's an adult material and they can align themselves with it, a lot of times people will give you endorsements. They'll write letters on your behalf. They may even host an event for you, a book signing event. And as you have those events, then you can turn them into online calendars, and that's how you start to get publicity.
Okay.
So there's nothing to publicize about until you have activities to talk about. So it's not just your book is launching, but your book is launching, and we're going to be at such and such a place, and we're doing such and such, and you should be there because it's going to benefit you. So you have to think, okay, my book. I'm so excited about my book. So nobody cares about that. What is your book doing? Oh, this book is saving people's lives. If people read it, they know they can live better. Okay, I might be interested. This book is going to help me to be a better parent. I might be interested. Hey, this book is going to make my kids be better kids. I'm definitely going to read it.
Right.
So you want to think about your angle and why somebody should spend their time sharing your message.
Okay, I got
And
you.
that's kind of what I help people to do is, what is your message? You know what you want to say, but what do people need to hear to take the time to listen to what you have to say? And when you get down to that, you can get people to align with you.
So it seems like that this is. I mean, you. To be quite honest, you're in my pocket now. I mean, we're spending money on banners and bookmarks
Yes.
and promotion and things like that. So it's not just about writing a book and paying someone to publish it. I mean, if you want to sell it, I mean, if you just want to say, "Hey, I wrote a book," and leave it like that, well, then cool, good luck, congratulations. But if you want to move some books and you would like for this to be like some sort of career for you, you're going to have to invest a little bit of money. So maybe you might want to take an extra shift on the job to help
Yeah.
supplement this venture, because this is very important. This to
Yeah.
me, this is as important as you want it to be.
Yes. Yeah, it's ongoing, Tony. Listen, you can't just, so what, you sell 10 books in one day or you sell 100 books in one day. Listen, nobody else can do it but you. And it is hard work. And I do not recommend anybody, do not quit your job. Do not even expect to make a profit, okay? Because when you add all of these things up, this can get you into thousands of dollars, even if you do it yourself. If you do it correctly. Now, we're talking about basically having a book in hand. There are a lot of people who have found great success with ebooks, okay? And that's definitely a way to go. But you have to think about, why are you writing this book? And if you're writing it because ultimately you want people to see you, or you want them to hear you, it's going to be you that's doing 99% of it.
Right.
And it's not easy. That's what I want people to know. You want to share some information, but it's not easy. You need finances, you need time, you need encouragement. And then the other thing, and we didn't talk about this, you think all of your friends are going to want to buy your book, or all your family members are going to want to buy your book and support you. They're going to pretty much expect you to give it to them. And you have to pretty much say, this costs money, and would you please buy it? And not only would you buy it, would you please buy 5 copies of it?
And the thing is that you are going to have to legitimately probably give away copies of your book if you want to get booked. A lot of radio stations do public affairs programming. Some of them that are talk stations, they're looking for compelling, good books. And if yours is one of those, you may have to send them an advance copy. And if they decide not to book an interview with you, you can't ask for the book back.
Right. And you mentioned advanced copies, and we didn't even talk about that. These days, it's difficult to do an advanced copy. I mean, what an advanced copy means is it might still have some errors, and it's stamped advanced, and you're sending it to them. But what that really ends up being is you have 2 different printings. So you're going to go back and have to change it again. And so you're probably going to end up sending them the actual book.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have some issues in between. You want to get the cover done so you can start promoting the book. You don't want to wait till after the book is done really to get the cover done. But if you don't have the cover done, you really can't promote the book. But if you don't have the book done, you obviously can't really go talk on the book. So it is so.
It all has to work. It's all a lot of different moving parts.
Yes, yes. And so one of the reasons I wanted to do this with you, and I think it's so important, and I thank you, is because it can be so overwhelming. And I think, I'm trying to talk fast so I don't take too long. At the same time, this is a process.
It is a process.
And it can be very scary by yourself. So one of the reasons I thought this was important is because at least we're giving some people some tips and some things to think about. So whoever they're going to work with, or if they're trying to do it on their own, at least they have some guidance.
Right. Let's talk about, because you write endorsements. I don't necessarily think, when I think of a book, the word endorsement doesn't normally. Endorsements come with products and things like that, but I guess a book is a product. So explain how that works.
Well, it could be. An endorsement could be, let me think of something. Tom Joyner, okay? Tom Joyner ended up getting an endorsement with Southwest Airlines because they said he was the hardest working man in the show.
He was flying from Chicago to Dallas.
Exactly. Okay. So you may be in your hometown, the hardest working doctor. Okay. Or you may be the most creative mom. All right. And so there may be a bank, or there may be a store, or there may be some business entity who says, you know what, you're going to be around. And if you will give out our health materials at all of your events, we'll pay you to do that, or we'll buy a certain number of books. So when I say endorsements, it's also, it could be somebody doing a video on your behalf. Okay. An endorsement doesn't have to just be monetary. It could be in kind. So it can be, I'm Jolena Johnson. I read Tony Scott's book and I approve this message. It's great. buy it.
Right.
You know, but if you're getting monetary endorsements, it is possible, but probably they're endorsing you and your platform. You know, I really deal with people who are writing their books because they want to make a difference in the world, whether it's their little world or the bigger world at large. And a lot of times there are companies who are saying we'd like to do something in the community, or we'd like to do something, and we want to reach more people, but we're inside. So if you can be their spokesperson, or you can be their mouthpiece, or you can be the person who gives away the material, that may be worth something to them.
Okay. Jolena Johnson is a publishing maven. She's got all this great information. Let's talk about ads and marketing. My book is ready to go. I've done a lot of different things. Should I buy an ad on the radio? Should I buy an ad in in the weekly newspaper in town? Should I buy an ad on Facebook?
Buy an ad on Facebook, probably. Buy an ad anywhere else, probably not. And the only reason I say that is if you have a lovely amount of money, and when I say that an ad could cost you anywhere from one ad, maybe $200, it might be 25, but might be 25 to $2,000 to be in somebody's publication. And how many times are people looking at the ads? And it has to be designed, okay? But if you can be in that same publication and somebody writes an article about you, that tends to have more carry more credibility, okay? So I would just say you do need an advertising budget, but you want to think about, let me align myself with other people who are in books. There are book clubs. There are other people who specifically do book publicity. There's a lady named Ella Curry, and she does some great things with a lot of authors. And you can find her on Facebook, Ella Curry. And I think it's DC Creations or Ella, something like that. You can find her. We'll put maybe a little link down. But she does a great job of helping to educate authors as well, and then spreading the word. Okay. So what I'm saying is you can spend money every single day and not get very far as an author. So you want to say, if I can get some time with a Tony Scott and we can do videos, if I can be on somebody's distribution list, that's a better way. There are book expos and everything, but you know what? If you are one of 500 authors or one of 50 authors, why are they going to come to your table? So if you can get a chance to be on the microphone, if you're a good speaker, then you might want to think about things like that as opposed to necessarily paying for ads. But the marketing part, you need to have some type of plan. And if your plan is literally to put up the little memes or whatever every day on Facebook, and you start a page, I mean, so many people have done very, very well with that. Or if it's Twitter or if it's Instagram. Okay. So what people need to do is start to be exposed, and you should ask your friends, if I've helped you, or if my book has helped you, or if you believe in me, would you just do a little video on your, on your phone and send it out to your friends? I mean, that will help.
Yeah.
Okay. So, if you have big time money, there are some big time people who can really help you. There's a PR firm, excuse me, named Annie Jennings PR, and they're out of New Jersey. And I cannot wait until I work with Annie. That has been one of my personal goals, because she can take you big, big, big time. And you're talking about a nice endorsement, and it doesn't start with, or a nice campaign, but it doesn't have 2 zeros behind it. Okay.
Right. So marketing is important. Ads are important because you want to put your book out in front of as many people as possible. You want to put your book in as many hands as possible. So you have to be almost like a forward thinker as far as different ways. And the thing is, with social media and technology now, man, it's really made it convenient if you're creative and if you're persistent. That's one of the things I've learned about doing like YouTube videos and things like that, is you can build a fan base and subscriber base, but you got to be consistent. Mm-hmm. So you have to be able to do that. And I think that that's important if you're serious about publishing your book. Again, if you just want to publish a book so you can say you're a published author, well then, you go to, Joe Schmo's printing shop, get it printed out and set it on the coffee table. One copy, that's all you want. Well, that's fine. Most people don't want that though. So yeah, we're going to stop right there. We've got advantages and expectations when working with a publisher to tackle in our next segment. That's Jolena Johnson. I'm Tony Scott. Thank you for watching Talking 360, and we'll see you next time.